there's other things on these meters where I'll go into one that you don't really see people use very often. It's this little on this one it's yellow, but it's a thermocouple. It looks like a little thermometer, right? And it's a plug that you plug in right here, and it's a thermocouple on the other side. Really cool. I can show you a trick later if we have time for it. And you'll
Can
see
you tell everybody what a thermocoupler would be used for?
Yeah, let me pull one out first.
I figure you had one laying around over there somewhere.
Pull it lying around here. Actually, let me grab the good one. So this is the one that typically comes with the fluke. Okay, a lot of people are like, "Yeah, you'll never need that. Throw it away." You know, that's what they tell their new guys or something like that. But what it is, and since we're on the subject, I'll show you the cool trick. So inside of a meter, and I have to use this one because this fluke meter has the thermocouple option on it. Okay, so inside of this meter, you have a circuit that is used, and all a thermocouple is basically two types of metal at one junction, and they're dissimilar metals, right? They use these in exhaust circuits and stuff like that, or on engines to measure temperature. And so because they're dissimilar metals, you have a hot junction and a cold junction, right? And so because they're dissimilar and you have a temperature difference between the two metals, they'll build a voltage. And all we care about is measuring the voltage. We're not going to let the current flow. We just want to measure the voltage. Right. And so if you put this, I switched it over to, I turned the light on, maybe make that a little easier.
It helped a little bit.
I switched it over to that mode, but the problem is I'm still on the white option because I didn't press the yellow button.
Right.
So now I'm on, and it says C in the top right. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to plug this guy in right here. And it says that my thermocouple's temperature in Celsius is 22.9. But watch this. I put my fingers on there. Well, you know what I did? Plugged it in backwards.
Just goes to show you. Yeah, I mean, you got to have them set up, right? It all comes down to user.
Hey, it's a functions check, right?
It is 100%.
So this is a very good function check. You go ahead and be like, "Well, I put my finger on there, and apparently I'm colder than the air." Well, no, you just plugged it in backwards because you build a DC voltage on this, so there's polarity sensitive. So if you plug it in backwards, it will tell you. And actually, if you look at the thing, it has a plus, yellow plus on there. It tells you. So, yeah, that's all this is. And so since we're on the topic right there, I'm going to show you what's a cool little trick. That in order for this thing to work, you have to have a hot junction and a cold junction, right? So this thing is actually able to measure. You can measure temperature with this thing without this. And so, what's the temperature of my meter? Short these.
I'll be dang.
That's the internal temperature of your meter.
Provided you have it set up on thermocoupler mode, right?
Yeah. So
That's
like
wild.
if you're out in the field, right, and you just have a multimeter lying around, it's been sitting on the desk all day, right? It hasn't been sitting in the sun or anything weird like that, right? Sitting on the desk, you're like, what temperature is that in here? Just short your multimeter and put it on thermocouple mode, and that'll tell you what the internal temperature of the multimeter is. And then this probe will tell you what the external temperature of the probe is.
Gotcha. Now,
it's cool.
So it's very cool, but I guess what is there any value add in doing function checks to shorten it out and getting the internal temperature of the multimeter? And does it establish a baseline for measurements or anything like that? Or you just try to make sure that the meter's up and running?
It'd be good, for example, not if you use thermocouples or you use that device and say, for example, you're out there testing or whatnot, and you run into a situation, I don't know, man, I've been getting weird numbers all day or something like that, right?
Right.
Short it. Take a look. What if you short them together and it says 99C on there? You're like, dude,
then
I'm
you have a
holding
big issue.
Okay? It's not burning up in my hand, right?
Right.
So, it's a functions check. Treat it like a functions check.